I think I was in about 8th grade when I first pulled out a book in elementary school. And when I opened it up, smack dab in the middle, there was a picture of my grandfather. And the caption read that he was the first man to hold a horse that sold for $1 million. From that day, literally, I became his biggest fan. I wanted to go to work with him as much as possible. A lot of times we got a no, and my cousin can contest to that he would let us go very seldom. But as I looked in the library, I think from 1974 to 2003, I think. Was that right, Miss Rebecca? About 2003, there were photographs of him at the Keeneland sales. But not only did he have that amount of time there, but he was actually the most photographed man for the Keeneland sales nationwide. So when I moved back in 2015 from California, my grandfather had passed away. I moved back to take care of my grandmother. And in that time, I sit in the room that he passed away at. My uncle here, Uncle Larry, he had this great picture that he drew of my grandfather in oil painting, which is currently our logo. I looked at this picture probably about 3 times. And on the 3rd time, I'm like, Granddaddy, what are you trying to tell me? From that moment, Frankie's Corner Little Thoroughbred Crusade was born. So at Frankie's Little Thoroughbred Crusade was born because also at the time, there was a gentleman that was getting indicted for recruiting young men into gangs. Me growing up here in Lexington, I understood that young kids have nothing to do other than going to the champs, going to the movies, and maybe hanging out at the mall. There was nothing for them to do. So I locked myself up for about 2 weeks because I wasn't working at the time. I was working for the city of Lexington that called me back for a job. So I sat down and I wrote the whole program out, wrote a business plan out, wrote a logic model out, went knocking on a lot of doors. I got a lot of no's. At first I was discouraged. I sat down, I went to my grandmother, I told her my plan. She approved everything that I said to her. The name of the program, how I wanted to do the program, so I had the support. A couple years later, while I was going through the program, she passed away. It kind of slowed me down during the process. However, my fire kept burning. And as my fire kept burning, all those no's, I got one yes. When I got that one yes, all it did was spark me even more.